Hello and welcome once again to Wandering Monster, America's test table, where we don't just playtest games, we stress test them. I am John Baldisberger.
I am Charles R. Bernard.
Ian Servas.
Mr. Paschke.
And tonight we are going to be getting squiggly with it. We are going to be playing a game from a creator named Roma B. It's part of their simpler system, which will include a suite of modules. And the one that we're doing tonight is Simpler Cthulhu. Now, everybody out there has heard that name, the famous name, Dead Dreamer, etc. People have also heard of the Necronomicon. And in fact, the story of the Necronomicon is pretty fascinating. It got blown up big by Evil Dead. So people who haven't heard about it from Lovecraft or the mythos have usually heard about this fictional book from one of the Evil Dead products, of which there have been many. The interesting thing about Necronomicon is it is a fictional text, and I have a real thing for fictional texts, like books that are referred to by many authors but that don't actually exist. The difference between the Necronomicon and a lot of fictional books is motherfuckers keep trying to write it. So there have been numerous versions of the Necronomicon published by legitimate occult sources claiming to be the long lost book. And that's hilarious because Lovecraft is quite explicit about I made this shit up. And the other thing is a lot of people think that it means the Book of the Dead. Necronomicon actually means the Book of the Names of the Dead, or the Book of Dead Names, depending on how you interpret the kind of doggerel Latin that is, or Greek. So its first appearance was in 1924 in an H.P. Lovecraft story called The Hound. And it took all the way until the 1970s for the first effort to be made at writing an actual Necronomicon. Now, props to the people who did that. It was a company called, it was a bookstore on the edge of Brooklyn called The Warlock. And The Warlock had a bunch of interesting stuff, including a version of the Necronomicon that was written in fake calligraphy, fake language. So it was just squiggles on a page. And I just love the idea of someone taking that home and thinking I'm gonna crack this, I'm gonna get out my Sanskrit and my goddamn old characters, and I'm really gonna solve this one. And that was published under the Arabic name that Lovecraft referred to it to, which is the Kitab al-Azif. But then the more famous one is a literary forgery known as the Simon Necronomicon, because the alleged translator of this went by the pseudonym Simon. His real name is Peter Lavenda, and like many modern occultists, he's kind of a piece of shit. So when his identity was uncovered in 2003, people were like, oh yeah, he's a conspiracy theory weirdo and has been writing a bunch of nonsense for years. But even from the get-go in 1973, when people saw the Necronomicon, they should have known there is no such book. But props to Lovecraft, because in creating the Cthulhu mythos, what he did was out of whole cloth and in total, in broad daylight, create a fake religion and a fake, world of monsters and gods that are monsters that was so vivid and convincing that even though people keep saying this is fiction, there are still people out there who will perform rites from the Necronomicon, who will do occasionally really fucked up stuff and say that they got the idea out of the Necronomicon. It's interesting how much power a fictional world can have in the real world. And with that, why don't we turn things over to our fictional world wrangler, Mr. Ian Servas.
Klaatu, Barata,
Arata,
Nickel, Neptune.
Why are we talking about the day the Earth stood still?
Ooh. I was just hoping someone would start making some other references. I've been brimming with references, and I didn't interject once with stupid jokes there. So fantastic intro
I
there,
should get an
Charles. I
S.
appreciate that.
Oh, thank you. I should get an S-Mart shirt. That would be fun and subtle.
Do
They
you
have
shop
those
smart?
online.
So, as you've
S-Mart.
given that fantastic intro, yes, so Roman Vint is letting us play this game. We actually had rescheduled this from a previous session where we were going to run a different module that's actually not currently available yet on itch called Road Rage, that was based kind of off the Mad Max anthology and world mythos. But two of the games that have been recently released is a fantasy version called D+D, and then simpler Cthulhu. So a lot of people, there are plenty of Lovecraftian games out there, but some of them do rely on lots of crunchy tables. And I feel like a lot of people are either on the spectrum of love the crunch, or you want squishy, not non-crunch, something that you can just gum all night. And that, so I am more on the I like less crunch. I could go either way with peanut butter. Both my RPGs, I definitely like it to be much more smooth and rules light. And so this game relies on just 3 stats. We're looking at luck, stamina, and sanity. One of the fun things about this game, it's tactile, so it's made to be played with little like tokens that you can slide across your attributes because they're supposed to change over time. So behind the scenes, if you look to see where the sausage is made, I made little PowerPoints where you can drag icons to kind of give that tactile feel, even though we are in a, I guess, streaming capacity. So the games are available right now on itch just for $1 USD, and you can pick that up. And they're just there for you. There's even previews that you can look at to give you a taste for it before you even pledge that dollar. So those dollars are helping to expand the simpler system as well as other creative ventures from Roman. But with that kind of just basic intro, and then also just mentioning for sake of simplicity, all of the rolls that are going to be made in the game are just made with 1d6. So that is makes it definitely puts the simple and simpler. So real fun there. But that kind of very light overview, we're going to take it to our cast of characters here. Someone jump on that grenade and introduce what your character is. Tell us a little bit what your archetype is, and then maybe one colorful fun fact about you.
I'll break tradition by going first. Tonight I will be playing Claude Hans, and my archetype is the occultist, which I happen to be in real life, so that's fun. And one fun fact about me is that my character has a popular blog about the occult. In real life, I have a very unpopular blog about the occult. So that's why we fantasy role play.
Hey, I read your stuff.
Thank you.
The garden is dead. Long live the garden.
I guess I can go next. My character's name is Woodrow Parish. I'm a writer. I have had at least one successful New York Times best-selling novel that was there for a week. That's not a big deal. It was only 1 week. I mean, how many has anyone here had? None. All right. Well. Oh, I'm sorry.
The
That
rest of
was
the
slow.
cast is gonna be waiting for you in the parking lot with baseball bats.
maybe don't straight up insult 2 of your other cast members, bud.
But I don't have any writing at all. This is my one chance to pretend to be like you.
If I were on the
Okay.
New York Times bestseller list, I'd frankly think that I'd fucked something up somewhere along the line.
But no, so I happen to be in possession of a copy of that sacred text that I blew all of my first royalty check on. So yeah, fun book. I've been reading it.
And I am Dilbor Quan. My name's I'm my government name is William Borman. However, my Jedi name is Dilbor
Mm.
Quan. I am a ranking Jedi Master of the Jedi Faith, and it has been my I'm supposed to say it's a pleasure, but I've been less I'm batting less than 100 on spreading the good word of the Force. So a little disappointing. I I need a little bit of a break. And the truth is, if I'm being honest, guys, I feel like I'm not no joke. I feel the dark side rising. It's it's like when Luke was looking at Rilo and he could just like feel the darkness there. That's how I feel. Like my Jedi senses are getting so attuned, bro.
Oh, that was a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away.
Yeah, but my Force is here and now, Mom. I mean, brother.
It's fun for people who aren't aware.
Brother.
There are several countries that do recognize Jediism is a
Great
valid
Britain,
government
yeah.
faith, just like
Yeah,
how
and they should, yeah.
right. So Pastafarism is also
every religion and faith is a valid religion and faith, frankly. And if you are of the Jedi faith and you are offended by my characterization, I do apologize, and you can send me an email. Let me know what your actual beliefs and practices are, and I'll read that. But keep in mind that this is all in good fun, and I mean no disrespect towards you.
I would be thrilled if we had an actual Jedist fan that did write to us just to talk.
I'd be happy to have a fan.
Amazing. I'm a fan.
Let me say this much: like I'll come out hot. If you are a Jedist or Jedi or what have you, and you don't have a sense of humor about your religion, like you fucked up, you know? Like,
I agree. Yeah, I'll second that.
I'm a Satanist and an occultist, and I have a huge sense of humor about both of those
But you're not supposed to have passions as a Jedi. So that might self-identify you as a Sith.
On the other hand, getting offended and angry, that's kind of a Sithy thing too.
See?
My dudes.
Exactly.
Leads right to the dark side.
Look, you're forgetting the rule of 2, which is why you can't be a Sith. Otherwise, you'd have to kill your master.
But this is why we just have to assume that all of our fans are Jedists, and that's why we're not hearing from you. So anyone that responds to us with any type of hate or love letters is naturally they're aligned with the Sith. So
I didn't say what part of the Jedi faith I guess I did. I just guess I pretty strongly condemned the dark side just now. Never mind.
In case we didn't.
No, you just said you could feel it growing. You didn't say whether you were happy about that, sad about that, indifferent. You can just feel it growing.
No,
Jedi fall all the time.
Dilbor. I think I called myself. Yeah,
Dilbor. Dilbor. I've never heard Dilbor, and I was like, "Whew."
Dilbor is someone who sees the world in white and black, like light side, dark side, and it's very defined. And they're like, that's like so he does not get the nuance of like, hey, maybe dark doesn't mean evil. No, it totally means evil in his mind. It's gonna be real easy to drive him insane, by the way. Just
I'm going to enjoy
I will say in character that as an occultist, a master occultist, I have read all of your sacred texts. So much respect, my Jedi brethren, and may the Force be with you. And we probably better get this fucking thing in gear by now.
Yes, I was going to make some type of big epiphany, and then with that, it just vanished like the wind. But yes, that's what I was going to say. So in case that we didn't overtly state it, your character archetype is a missionary, and the fact since it is worth stating, since Lovecraftian Cthulhuan games can take across all types of different time eras, that we're playing in the modern era. In case being a Jedist wasn't self-apparent,
and also my direct reference to the second. I guess Star Wars Episode 7.
That's a good point.
8.
I should have
guess
just sat at the context clues, and you're
It's
a
all
smarter
good.
man than I, John. So
Also, Charles has a blog.
well, blogs have been around
Yeah,
for
that's
a
true.
while. I mean, heck,
But not in the
As long as you
1950s.
Yes,
can.
journals. That's
Yeah.
true. That's true.
Yeah.
So,
We'll
with
admire
that,
my beard for a while.
it's a beautiful beard. Now, with that, let's go ahead and set the scene. So, the three of you are at an airport. No one enjoys being at an airport. It's late into the evening. In fact, it is already well past sunfall. It's dark. You've been through TSA. You have been sitting around. You have had flight delays. You've had flight transfers. You've had to transfer your luggage from port A to port B. You've had to fight people who wouldn't move over on this moving platforms. It's been not a fun time, but all of you are finally at the gate that you need to be, and you see on the tarmac the plane that you're actually leaving on. So all of you are in different stages of frustration. So if you weren't already at max sanity, your sanity might have been lowered by the fact that you had to deal with this holiday traveling season post-pandemic. So the things that you see here is you are at a pretty busy gate. People are still checking in their luggage. There are people that are still trying to coo and soothe their angry babies. You see at least 3 angry babies that are going to be on this flight. So if you haven't already loaded up at the airport bar, now's a good time. And or any other last preparations. So Claude and Woodrow and Dilber, you are within relative proximity of one another. I'm not sure where your final seats are going to be. Yes, the gentleman in the back.
As a last minute preparation, since we will be in the airport, and pandemic and everything, I'm wearing a plague doctor mask, used in the original sense. So like the nose cone of it is full of like healing
Horseradish.
herbs. Yeah. Stuff that gives off powerful vegetable fumes, if you catch my drift. So that's all.
I just remembered a side note that I have to tell Charles. It has to happen on air because
All right.
I need to see his face, and I apologize.
We're going to hit
Charles.
pause on the VCR. Go ahead.
Charles,
Yes,
Igor
sir.
has been rescheduled. I'm going to get to go see Igor.
Oh shit, that's awesome.
I'm so
That
excited.
is fucking awesome, man. Who's
Yeah,
I have a
opening?
feeling that Pashke, I, and most of the viewers have no idea.
Fantastic fucking band / artist.
That is good
Charles.
enough.
French. I
Charles,
think.
opening is Melt Banana.
Oh yeah. You told me. I love Melt Banana.
I need
Melt
to check
Banana's
this
a
out.
Japanese noise
I will.
rock band.
Hey, everyone! First of all, big ups to our intro and outro music, Barbaria from Bog Wizard. But
Wizard.
I will link Bog Wizard's store, and I will also link an Igor song in the show notes because both of those bands rip so goddamn hard.
Absolutely.
It's got like equal parts death metal and like high opera. It's fucking
and electronica
music. And a bunch of other stuff. Yeah,
God, so cool.
Yeah, a bunch of other stuff. Yeah.
So sorry, I just remembered, and I was like, oh, I have to share right now.
Fantastic.
That's awesome, man.
We're gonna hit play and record at the same time on that VCR.
We're supposed to be recording this.
So when they talk about stress testing, they always mean the GM. So wink, 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 wink. All right. So you were in a busy airport. It is holiday season travel, late in the evening, and you notice that there are a lot of people that are placing their faces basically up to the big viewing windows, like overlooking the tarmac. Far in the distance, up in the sky, you can see what looks to be like a very bright star. If you've been living under a rock, or even if you've been living under a rock, you should know that there's one of those very rare comet sightings, kind of like Halley's Comet or Nimrod's Comet or other ones. There is a comet that's going to be so coterminous with the Earth, like it just is basically going to scrape the atmosphere. It's that close. And so people who have booked some of these flights, you see that there are people with like binoculars who probably even booked this flight just for the fact that you're going to be up in the midnight sky at night getting a dead-on view of this comet. One of those a lifetime, once in a generational kind of thing. And it just so happens either you scheduled your flight or your flight was delayed enough that you're going to be on this flight and you're going to get a perfect view of a comet. All right.
I mean, okay. On the one hand, that sounds dope. On the other hand, I happen to know as a science fact that like flight attendants actually suffer a slightly higher risk of cancer than other people because they spend enough time up in airplanes, which are closer to the upper atmosphere, which is thinner, which provides less protection. So if like this fucking comet is kissing the atmosphere with like Sainted Erasmus's nuts knows what kind of energy peeling off of it, we're gonna be getting it like full in the grill on board this plane. This is gonna be a blast. Awesome. I'll be taking copious notes in my occultic notebook.
Great. Well, with that, before we kind of move on to the next scene, are there any other preparations that any of you want to make? I know that you said that you're going to be putting on unironically, a plague doctor's mask. Actually, as a quick aside, what's the rest of you? What are you wearing otherwise? Is this in alignment with the rest of your gear, or are you just wearing like random band t-shirt, plague doctor mask?
Are you
That would
high?
actually be that'd be a pretty strong look in like the metal and industrial scene, like band t-shirt and the plague doctor mask. No, I'm like off the clock. So I'm wearing the plague doctor mask and all my occulty clothes are like in my luggage, but I'm actually just wearing a Hawaiian shirt and like, Bermuda shorts, flip-flops since it's the airport.
Absolutely. All right.
Big straw hat on top of the plague doctor mask.
So as you're sitting here in waiting for boarding, are any of you wanting to do any certain actions or make any other kind of character notes before we start moving the scene along?
I am I am dressed in full not ceremonial garb, but like vestments, which means like the brown and white robe of the Jedi Order.
Bathrobe, yeah.
Yeah. It is actually not terry cloth. It is a high quality linen. There is a pin affixed to my robe lapel. You know what I mean, that part.
Propel. Yeah.
That is.
Oh my god! Does it say Elder Quan? I'm gonna lose my fucking mind if it does.
Okay, hold on. I was going to have it be like a very stylized Obi-Wan Kenobi, like in the Jesus hands pose, looking up with WWOBKD. But no, Elder Quan. Absolutely, absolutely, it says Elder Quan.
And above that, in smaller font, it says the Church of Luke Skywalker of the Force of Latter-day Jedists. I don't know.
Latter-day Jedi.
So, Dilbert, two important questions. One, what color is the crystal in your hilt? And then, second of all,
it's a Kyber crystal, you animal.
I wanted to, but my brain wanted to go dilithium, and I just couldn't think of Kyber. Although you could use crate pearls if you want to go that nerdy.
Kyber's not native to Earth.
So, in my denomination, I guess might be the right cell.
And
in my denomination,
the second part of that question is, when TSA wanted you to check your lightsaber, how did you respond? Now finish.
Well, I mean, I have my papers with me that I'm clergy, that it is religious, and also it's fiberglass. It's not like it's not a weapon. um, so I
Related question before we board the plane. Remind me, because it's been a while. Like, you can buy guns in airports, right?
no, sir.
Oh,
Liquor.
really?
Not even in the duty free shop.
Huh. What about in
Yeah.
Texas?
Nope, not even here.
Wow.
And the color of your
Okay.
your kyber crystal is?
What I was gonna say is that in my order, your kyber crystal kind of notes your rank within the church,
Orders.
the
Temple.
chapter.
Jedi, it's the Jedi Temple. Yeah.
It is, but
yeah.
like our specific temple organization, our org chart, right? Certain people who are deprived of melanin aren't allowed to have purple ones. Anyway, my specific crystal is a
Give us a good joke.
Thank you. I call it light.
Top that.
I call it light red. Some other people might call it another color, but I call it light red.
What about
it's pink?
So that's one rank. That's one rank up from the clear kyber crystal, right? Like the clear light.
It's actually one rank down. Like clear is like grandmaster. Like I am a high ranking missionary in my specific chapter, but I am nowhere near like grandmaster. I don't want to say his name.
All right.
Grandmaster Funk Fresh.
Now,
I don't think he takes it as seriously as he should.
Woodrow, as you are waiting in the airport, are there any things that you are doing? Is any of this inspiration fuel for your next novel, or are you just like anxiously waiting to board, like looking at your ticket, like seeing who you're going to be stuck next
to? Reading that Necronomicon.
I am in a weird mixture between reading the Necronomicon and going up to the airport bar for another drink and trying to impress the local ladies with my prowess. So I go up to the bar and just kind of give me a Manhattan with Canadian whiskey and a spritz of lime.
Can I tell you? I have no idea why that's funny. None. No clue. I can tell it's funny.
Is that
I don't know why.
John? I can't quite tell.
No, not at all. I literally have like.
All right. That's hysterical. And that, all right. So that rivals your joke. We're setting a good tone for the evening, and I love it.
But what's the joke?
Okay, it's supposed to be a rye whiskey, sweet vermouth, and a cherry. It's just like you don't know what a Manhattan is.
Yeah.
Clearly I don't.
Which is that's the joke. So all right.
It'd be like saying, make me a martini. That's like a maraschino cherry and rum and Coke, right?
Exactly. So all of you are engaging in your pre-flight rituals. And so far, like things are pretty uneventful. People are fussy, people are anxious, ready to move on. The thing that really is kind of like sets out as being unusual is you see a guy who's wearing something, kind of anachronistic, just like how you are, Claude, but it's a duster. Like it's a very worn duster, broad brim leather hat, weather beaten old guy, bedraggled gray hair, who's arguing with the flight staff about his carry-on luggage. It's just like a pound overweight. And like just a little bit outside, like that little metal slat where you have to put your bag in and make sure it fits. And like he is raising hell. Like not being belligerent, but just being
this is the hill he's gonna die on. Yeah.
Loud and insistent. So between a Ken and a Karen, but still a little asinine. He is insisting to take his carry-on luggage on the plane, and they're arguing about it. It's almost to the point where TSA is going to be involved.
No, this
Well, I did uh, yeah, like, can we see what the carry-on is?
So the carry-on looks to be this like his duster, like his hat. It is a leather satchel of some kind. And you can tell that's one of those like antique kind of things where literally this bag would probably fit in the carrier, but it's the ribbing on it that it just doesn't slide in like a modern bag. It's just made with a little bit of an interior frame. So if it would fit normally, just like the base is flanged just enough. Or any of you wanting to like intervene, or you just like leave the crazy travel situation by itself? No right or wrong answers.
Well, first of all, as TSA will tell you, do not offer to hold another person's bags for them, and keep your own bags in your possession at all times. And being a law-abiding occultist, I naturally would be sympathetic, but like I don't know what the fuck I could do for him anyway. So yeah, I am curious to see how far it escalates, though. I
Is
always am
is
in public.
the person attempting to help him female?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, god damn it. All right. Yeah, I'm coming over there.
The White Knight saddles up.
Yep.
Oh, my
god
lady.
damn. Fuck. Yep.
Milady, doth this gentleman bother
My
you?
lady.
Oh Jesus! Do you have
Oh
a fedora,
man,
you?
fuck me.
You have a Jedi fedora.
I
The audience needs to know.
I take a fedora out of my robes, put it on to tip it, then put it back.
I have to know
Milady,
how
is this
universal the stereotype is, like because we have such an international audience. I really want to know if this translates.
nice guys exist in every country?
All right. Sorry, you were going to say, and I rudely interrupted.
Milady, can I be of assistance? Maybe I can help diffuse the situation.
She grits a customer service smile that is like way overused, and you can tell by the coffee in her breath that she has not been able to take a break from this place properly. And with like very mildly bloodshot eyes, like just tired holiday season, she's like, this gentleman's we have policies. Your bag has to fit in the slot, or right now it's a $20
I understand.
overage.
I understand. I cut her off, turned to the man. Sir, they have policies. Your bag has to be able to fit in there, or you can't carry it on. And obviously, sir, it's not fitting.
The man turns and looks, and despite seeming to be maybe in his late 60s, both his eyes have like milky cataracts. Like they're the very acid washed blue jean, blue gray. And he just smiles a little too much. And he goes, "Pardon.
How are the teeth?
I will just pay the fees." And looks at the woman, and he pulls out like a crumpled old $50 bill, not like the modern $50 bill for people who are from USD currency, and just slides it on the counter, just the entire time locking eyes with the customer service agent. Before
Milady, I break their contact by like shoving my head between the two of them. Would you like me to carry his? God, I fucking hate it. Would you like me to take his belonging to get it checked?
This is a carry-on bag that he's been fighting about. So
right, but if they're not letting him put it up there, they have to check it. Isn't that the whole?
Yes, he is paying the overage fee basically at this point. Like,
I didn't know you could do that.
In the conversation that she's having, they're fighting a little bit more about weight than they are size. Like size, like it's just enough that you could probably wedge one of those overhead bins. But the biggest thing is that it is a pound overweight. And
okay. You said the ribbing, so I assumed it was just too big.
It's
that's what she said as well, sir.
She is like 1 inch away from calling TSA at this point. But at this point, she sees the $50. She knows it's probably like a $40 fee. She pockets the $10, and she's just says, "This is going to get me the Starbucks. It's going to get me through this." The plane finally finishes boarding. You see the rest of your luggage getting boarded, put on, like people are throwing on your sacks, and your bags and things. Then you're able to see. So this is one of those like 747 models. It's a larger airplane. You're going from like the middle of the US, like circa the Denver region, and you're going to be going to Massachusetts. All of you are going to be landing in the international port of Arkham. So you start seating, and all of you, because you are a occultist, a writer, a missionary, you're going to be in economy, like ultra in the back. There's coach, and then there's economy. You're like economy negative.
No, my agent was supposed to book me in at least like business class. Why am I here? I am not supposed to be here.
You remember
you
it's like a little
who I am?
flashback. Your agent saying, "You've been on the New York Best Time Seller for a week." That's
Yeah.
it.
A week.
Your mother is quite insistent on you that this was the best she could do.
Look. She should have known better.
Your mother.
She knows that I am a special boy, and I don't, Mom, have to deal with this.
I love how like all of you are like different flavors of like neck beard in
Man baby.
Yes. Like I like the fact that like this is the most bizarre episode where like all of you are playing variants on like a similar flavor of trope, and you're gonna be like in a closed and quarter environment instead of the normal sandbox that it puts you. So like this is like really kind of a fun, like I am so curious how this is gonna play out. I love it. I had to interject myself there.
I think it's partially, I will say, I think it's partially because of my feelings towards the people who get like super obsessed with Lovecraft.
That is very good. I mean, actually, that is insurance, like a transference process there, and that makes sense for literary nerds. And I said this in the green room before we came on. We're not going to be pulling so much Lovecraft because so many people directly, overtly pull from like Lovecraft stuff, and there's so many other pan Lovecraftian or weird mythos writers that this is Robert Bloch for people who are. If that like instantly goes, I know all this works from 1937, then that's where we're going to be. So to fast forward, all of you are seating yourselves in economy. Your carry-on luggage is, smashed, sandwiched up in the bin, and you're in the middle of the back of economy class. I'm going to say for convenience sake and for the sake of narrative that all of you are in the same row. So I will let the three of you argue who gets window, who gets stuck in the middle, and who gets aisle.
Oh, I want middle.
Oh, I want the middle. Oh, damn it. Okay.
What
I'll take
type
the
of
window.
humans are you that you want the middle? No one wants middle.
I
need to
want
spread
the
the good
window.
word of the Force.
Paschke,
I can't
what do you
sit
want?
in the aisle because the cart will hit me on my elbow, and it is very sensitive. I'm not supposed to be here.
All right.
Okay. All right. I'll let little little Prince Fancy Pants have the window seat. I'll take the aisle.
Thank you.
That's fine. It also like it's only fair because like these healthsome herbs that are in the nose cone of my plague mask are like they're pretty strong, and like you guys are getting a little bit of an eye water off of them. So if I was like
It is
crammed in
no.
there, it might
There's
be,
no way it overpowers my bo.
I love how we're leaning into this.
All right, I think we've got our seats.
So
I'm gonna
you
pick up the flight magazine, start reading that.
Sky Mall. So
Yeah.
you lift off. You hear as soon as you start to pull off the tarmac, you hear like instantly those three babies. Of course, they're all economy. Start screaming in unison. You hear like you can feel the pressure in your ears popping off. I have a cat that is off camera who is chewing my headphones. So if my audio goes out, it is due to snacks.
Over the sound of the babies, you guys hear, "Don't worry, this fight is safe. I am helping guide it using the force."
Absolutely.
One of the
Also-
babies just explodes.
The man with the duster.
I think you should make John roll save against the baby exploding when he uses the force.
It's a shame. It's oh no. Oh no.
So, as
How far does the baby go? 10 feet diameter?
you guys.
20 feet diameter? At least 2 rows.
I rolled a
right?
6. Oh,
I've got my terrain map out here, so I need to know what the blood radius is. When I'm drawing
that's the
my
one we're all
arcane
chicken at it.
circles.
Wherever the pieces land, that's how far.
Okay, good. Yeah, we're done.
all right. So the airplane fly. My cat is going crazy right now, and I can't stop him. So the airplane is, going up to the altitude. So you're leaving from the. Please leave me, child. Is going.
That's why
We're
we're
gonna
born
fast
with the
forward
baby.
here. If my audio cuts out, it is due to this cat. So you are flying above Colorado, and you are heading to Massachusetts. You get to altitude, the cabin pressurizes, and that man who is wearing a duster with that hat, his hat is sitting in his lap, and he's pulled his luggage behind you or something, because you hear him fiddling with the overhead bin for a while, and there's a lot of shifting noises. And he begins to start just muttering to himself. Like, it begins just a soft annoyance, like how there's light, soft snoring sounds from people around you, because it is late in the evening and people have been overlaid, but it's more just like an assistant rhythmic thing. Before we kind of move forward, Claude, since you were an occultist, can you
I was gonna say
make me a sanity check? So that's going to be a D6,
gladly.
and you're going to be adding your bonus to it. And for you, that
So
is
that is a nat 5 plus.
Oh.
Let me see. Sanity check is, I believe, +2, so that's a 7 total.
fantastic. Now, as far as your character goes, do you feel like you'd be familiar with like more antiquated Germanic occultist texts?
Oh, for sure, man. Like that's Malleus Maleficarum, like golden age of witch burning and werewolf hunting countries. So.
Absolutely. So you pick up little snippets of things that you've heard from, like you've read in that one, it's like scanned PDF versions of De Vermis Mysterious by Ludwig.
Oh man, another one of my favorite fictional. That's awesome. Okay.
Does your character know the significance of some of those rites and books?
Well, if I do, then the character goddamn sure does. Yeah, The Mysteries of the Worm, which is not a treatise on gardening. It's essentially like which of the great old ones is the worm that devoureth or whatever? I forget. It's that one.
The Crawling Darkness. It would be Nyarlathotep.
Something like that. Yeah, it's one of the prescribed texts that, like the Necronomicon, can summon or contains rituals for summoning great old ones and stuff like that. So
Summoning,
bad
you
news.
say? So
Yeah,
as he
summoning, I
is
do think.
beginning to chant with like louder and louder fervor, you hear people around you muttering from the knock it off, and you hear people behind you hit the overcom button for the stewardess or steward or flight attendant, excuse me, to intercede. And so a flight attendant comes up and says, "Sir, you have to stop your muttering." Guy apologizes, and things are quiet again. For the rest of you, your in-flight movie options are either Step Brothers or Sophie's choice. Snacks will be pushed around the cart around the next hour or so. The restrooms are to the rear of you and also to the very far front of you, in between coach and first class. And there will be no meal served on this cast.
I pull up episode 4 on my phone. The original, by the way, where Han shot first, not the shitty remake.
And the original Han shoots. Greedo doesn't have a chance to shoot.
Yeah.
Nitpicky. I'm not.
Yeah. And I've got my my these size headphones on the plane, just like whispering the words along with the movie.
Boy, I wish that hadn't been me at certain points in my life.
I know it, buddy.
So like I'm gonna ring for the stewardess real quick, like ring a ding a ding ding, and patiently wait for Milady to approach.
The three of us are using Milady.
or I'm a gentleman. I mean,
Mabrosif.
So, a very attractive, in his mid-30s, German man, very blonde, almost exceedingly so man, responds to your call summons, leans in and says, "May I help you?"
Can I get some salt, please? Do you guys have just packages of salt?
The man looks at you and goes, "But of course, I will get it for you." And he reaches into his pocket and he has one of those like napkin, fork, spoon, little like stale packet of black pepper and salt, and rips that up and gives you the salt package and goes, "Is this enough?"
No, like maybe about 5 of those would be good. I really appreciate it. Thank you. And I will gladly like pay whatever premium you require for the salt.
Before you mention the payment, he's about to ask if you remember their loyalty rewards club. But when you mention payments, he goes, "But of course." He walks back behind you where there is one of the flight attendant little cabin areas where they prepare the coffee and little snacks and things, and brings back a handful of the salt packets.
Excellent.
And it also hands out a hand expectantly towards the said mentioned payment.
Yep. And I'm gonna reach into my my wallet and pull out a extra crispy, like, fuck it, I'll give the guy a 20. I like to tip personnel who helped me out. So
all right, make me a luck check.
Okay, let's see. Come on, don't fail me now. Oh, nat 6. And I think that my luck is not total bullshit. Let me double check on that though.
Your luck is
that's
+2.
8. Yep. So that's the highest possible roll on that.
It is the highest possible roll you could make in this game. Your fingers touch briefly, and he looks at you, blue eyes, and he nods just ever so much towards the cabin, like the bathrooms, and he goes, "If you're interested."
You bet your fucking ass I'm going with him. Hell yes. Hell yes. I can do the salt circle when I get back. You guys,
I hope you enjoy your sausage snack, but I also hope you slit your throat, because that'd be extremely funny.
On your way back to the bathrooms, you see that man with the long bedraggled hair and duster, he has a large tome in his lap. He is looking outside the window, and you can see that he has a onyx crystal on his lap, on his right leg. On his left leg, he has some type of wadded red thing. At first you think it's beef jerky, and then you realize that it's some type of raw meat. But when you take a second to kind of like look more intensely at what's happening, Hans just like drags you into that bathroom, and that like thing,
I want to save the world, but I've got a large tome in my lap too, so I'm gonna go take care of this real quick. And yeah, you guys can fend for yourselves for, I don't know, about 20 minutes. Make it 30 minutes.
Oh, you're gonna cuddle afterward.
That's a lot of foreplay for an airplane bathroom.
The line by the bathroom just gets longer and longer. So Woodrow and Dilber, what are our actions are you want to do initially? So
I'm
each of you
fucking
have
watching episode 4 while my
All right.
roommate gets railed in the airplane bathroom. What do you mean? What am I doing? I'm watching Star Wars.
Woodrow, what is it that you are doing?
From the inside of the aisle by the window, probably looking out the window. Do I have reason, or can I see our cowboy hatted friend? Probably not.
He is about 2 rows back from you. So if you'd like give the side eye and like lean, like looking out the window as if you're pretending to look at the comet, you could definitely get a good look at him.
Okay, so yeah, and he's sitting here. I'm here, so there's going to be a seat. I probably wouldn't
You'll
see
get like
the
this
raw
much
meat.
of a. Whoa.
Do I
yeah.
see the book more importantly? And do I?
So you get a view of his face looking down into his lap. And he's
Everyone here
muttering.
is perverts.
Yeah.
This is not how I wrote this, but go ahead.
Well, since I have a copy of the Necronomicon, what like I can't see his book to know if it's like the same edition. I guess I would just start reading the Necronomicon. Do I need to roll for like a exciting passage?
What are you wanting to do? Now, part of your purpose of taking this flight is to get your Necronomicon authenticated, because there's a question of whether or not the Necronomicon you have in possession is one of those fictitious novels that Charles told us about in the intro, or a literal text written by the Mad Arab.
Abdul Al-Hazred.
Yes, we know that is an offensive stereotype, but that is literally how he was called. It was a BS name, BS title. We acknowledge that Howard
Person of
Lovecraft.
Middle Eastern descent, living with mental illness.
Like just a quick, like just to throw this in here. The origins of the myth of where the Necronomicon came from and everything is not entirely like just Lovecraft Orientalism. There are a lot of legends in classical Arabic alchemical texts about the Rub al is it Kayat? Rub al
Oh,
Kayit,
you're
something.
right. I forgot about that.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
empty quarter. It's the most like deserted part of the desert, and because it has so much sand uninterrupted by, there are like a lot of crazy mirages. So there have always been stories of like phantom cities and like
Mhm.
phantom
It's
tribes
like
of
the
people
unknown
that live
city.
there.
Like,
That's also
Exactly.
in Jewish
Yeah.
mythology. That's also where demons are supposed to come from.
mhm.
Is that empty
Yeah.
kind of stretch of desert?
Yeah, it's the source of a lot of mystery in world folklore. I'd love to go there one day.
So then, Woodrow, like, there's a question whether or not this is an authentic text. It seems like you have a lot of intense belief that this is a actual Necronomicon that you have. So when you pull this out and you start reading things, is it like you are just pulling it out and then like reading it for leisure, or is there some type of passage or something that you're wanting to do with the Necronomicon?
I'm going to cross-reference the comet that we're looking at, see if the Necronomicon has anything comet related.
All right, that is
Ooh.
where
Anything
this
at
is where
all.
things are going to get interesting. I need you to make me a sanity
Interesting.
check. So that's D6, and for you, let me pull up your character sheet here. That is also a +2.
5 with the modifier.
All right. So, you start to pour deeply into the pages. And as you're looking at the pages are beginning to blur, and your thumbs are moving like faster over the pages, and the words are blending together, and you're starting to see like this outline of this comet, and the comet looks really fucking close to the window, and like you're like sweating, and why is it so hot in here? And you take like 1 point of damage, and you can take that for any of your stats, probably sanity or for flavor. but you start to get this feeling of like insanely impending doom, like something is really bad, like there's a gremlin on the wing of the plane, one of the engines going to go out, something bad is here, but it's in the text and we're all going to die in a really horrible way. And you like there's like this moment of like clarity in all this where like you have this thing where you know something really bad is about to happen and you don't know what it is, but like you are one of the few people that can do something about it, and fuck you, you don't know what it is, and that is frightening.
Something terrible going to happen. Something worse than me sitting here and coach with all of you.
That's fair. Hey, I get it.
We've all been there. Yeah, we've all been there. I think I've had this exact like physical psychological reaction in an airplane before. Yeah, I'm done ravishing beautiful Hans or whatever his name is. So I come back with
Ian's
a big
brother.
smile on my face. Yeah, and I'm gonna go ahead and make a circle of salt around myself and perform a simple warding ritual under my breath, which if I know it, my character would know it.
So originally you talked about being there for half an hour. So the fact that you were in there for 2 minutes and less, Hans looks very disappointed at you. In fact, like he has this very sad like, and
Americans.
he gives you some extra packets of salt and just
He just called you a salty bitch.
and next time you call, he will take extra long and your coffee is going to be cold and you're going to get one less peanut than you normally do from your in-flight snack.
Aw.
But so I will let you do that.
you know,
To be fair, you didn't give him his nut.
When you come back
if
from
we
the
were if we were
restroom, like
playing
you see
a dating sim, it'd be one thing. But
exactly. So you see that Woodrow is like kind of frothing at the corners of his mouth, like buried in the tome. First off, so give me a couple of things. Make me a sanity check. I know I'm making you like 3 rolls in a row there. But Claude, make me a quick sanity check.
And that's a 3 plus. I think I have a 2.
That's a
for
5.
A 5
So you
total.
instantly recognize that he has what you would believe as an occultist who's about to make a pilot on the History Channel, a genuine copy of the Necronomicon on a flight randomly, and there's a babbling of the mouth, eyes rolling back in the skull. What do you do
Yeah,
about that?
I mean, so like, okay, so you've seen Hannibal, right? The three of yous, the TV show.
Yeah.
Not the TV show.
There's
I've
a-
seen
there's a
the
sub-
movies.
Oh, okay. The TV show is a little different. There's a subplot where one of the characters has a viral infection of his brain. He's got like viral encephalitis,
All right.
and Hannibal Lecter knows and has taken him to get his brain scanned by another doctor who's like friends with Hannibal Lecter. And Hannibal convinces this other doctor that it would be like scientifically interesting to let this infection run its course so that they could, for science, see how his brain changes and develops under it. And so they tell him like, nope, nothing wrong with your brain, you're just crazy. That's kind of the strategy I'm going to take here is
That's like- Sorry, that's
malignant neglect in
No,
the
I was gonna say,
interest
I'm
of pursuing.
my day job is clinical research, like human ethics and regulations, and I'm like, this is everything they
Yeah.
warn you about in like research ethics 101, the Tuskegee, and
Yep,
like,
yep.
oh shit.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm not
all right.
ethical.
So,
No, my character.
We're gonna fast forward this because one of you is eyes rolled back, just thumbing the Necronomicon and foaming at the mouth, and then another one of you is just like blithely watching episode 4, the one and best of the episode movies, and another one is just like he. That over there was just okay, but I got salt packets, and I'm
actually picturing this as a movie, and like the shot I see is like it starts at the front of the plane and starts scrolling back, and like there are people like turning into demons and shit. And then it gets to our aisle, and like, Paschke's turning into a demon, and then there's John at the end of the aisle, just like,
No, I'm in between you two, which makes it even better.
yeah,
Because he's like
blissfully unaware.
And you're just like, motherfucker. I'm like, I know.
I thought this was the de-specialized version, but it's the specialized version. Why is there CG? No. What happens here is a couple of different things. You're intentionally choosing not to intercede. You have someone that is just involved in their holy films. And you have another person that's just freaking out without able to do anything really about it. That man who's 2 rows behind you, his chanting starts to get louder. The babies that are on the plane start to like all scream really loudly, like all at once, like blood is coming out of their ears. The pressure in the cabin is like getting tighter. Like people are turning those little fan things on the maximum. There's not enough air coming from those little fans. People are just beginning to just like get uncomfortable. And this is building to a crescendo. The man stands up and begins to scream at the top of his lungs, holding in one hand this book, and then blood starts to like drip down the windows. Like that comet is burning like really too bright outside, and everyone is looking at it. And back in that
awesome
air stewards like section where they're preparing coffee, you hear this like insistent gibbering, high-pitched laughter. Like there are people who are watching Sophie's Choice right now, and you can see on the back seat of their chairs, and you're hearing high-pitched laughter. Like there's maybe one person watching Step Brothers, but you're hearing inappropriate loud laughter just echoing from everywhere. Like Sophie just made her choice, and there's laughter.
Your sex was so bad you drove the German insane. That's how you know it's a fictional game.
A quick aside. I once worked in a sex research lab, and we had to use video controls to invoke certain affects in people, and we used Silence of the Lambs, and we used Sophie's Choice. So the fact that you brought up Hannibal and I had Sophie's Choice written in here is like giving me some flashbacks.
I just want to point out that that's fictional, because Bernard can lay some pipe.
But how many packets of salt does he need?
This Steven, I'm just a general pipe merch.
High-pitched laughter
sell it how it is.
Rolls through the cabin. You hear that man behind you begin to like froth at the mouth. You hear someone like in a row behind you screaming for like, "Is there a doctor on board?" And that guy is like foaming, eyes rolled back up in his head, and like there's that first like breathtaking judder when like a plane hits a bit of turbulence, and like all of you are like, "Oh shit, are we gonna die?" You feel the plane drop for just a second, and like those cabinets that are holding the air mass like rattle, and you know like something as bad is happening here. Outside where that comet you can see in the distance, you instantly see all of the cloud barrier that's underneath your plane is beginning to roil and like reach up with the hands to the plane itself, and it becomes like this terrible white and gray out, and you feel the plane begin to judder. First off, I need all of you to make me a sanity check.
You got it. And then I have something that's
5.
just... Oh, I pass it again. Nat 4 plus 2 is
nice
a 6.
nails.
Yeah.
What did you get? You got
6 with my
6.
modifier.
All right. So Dilber and Woodrow, you begin to panic. This entire time, Claude, you've been waiting, like watching to see how this is going to play out. Like this is like something you're like, hee, syphilis is running rife. The rest of you are freaking out because you know that you're in mortal peril of some kind. You just got interrupted, like right towards like brother sister like kissing scene. Like this is like blasphemous to you. Like it is. So this is horrible. Everyone on the plane is screaming. Luggage is beginning to fall out of overhead container. that man who like was just foaming at the mouth seems to be in full cardiac arrest. Yes, Claude.
I think that it is now time for me to invoke the Elder Sign, which happens to be one of my items. Call it a
All right.
surprise item, a regular party favor. If I'm not mistaken, the Elder Sign, much like the sign of the Yellow King or what have you, is it sort of an insta summon type deal?
So how I'm going to treat this is normally in the similar Cthulhu, one of the items that you can have for your class starting out would be like a crucifix. I'm swapping out Elder Sign because you're an occultist, so that just seemed to make more sense. So you're going to basically have a personal ward for you. So for the viewer at home,
Okay.
the Elder Sign is almost like a diagonal line with forking on it, almost like an ancient Diluvian branch type of glyph. So you pull
And
that out in silver.
and with that and my remaining salt, I will now attempt to exorcise Mr. 1800s gear, the mysterious vermis, you know, old German knowing man. Actually, that would be written in Latin Vulgate, I think. But yeah,
All right,
um,
make me a luck check.
will do. It's the first not great one of the night. That's a 3 plus 2 is 5.
So you stand up spilling salt on your in-flight table, like the lights above you saying, like, please fasten your seatbelt. So you get that like ding sound. You stand up, spill your salt everywhere, and you start just like, blah, 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 blah. You like hold up this like thing, and like people are looking at you like you were just lost your marbles. Nothing seems to happen. There is a person that's like, I'm an RN, and like goes in and starts doing like chest compressions on that person, and it seems like he's just gone. Like there's just like people, like he is just like pounding on his chest trying to revive this man, and the entire time you're hearing this high-pitched cackling. Not only is it coming from behind you, from like where that air steward section is, it's beginning to like crackle to all of the speakers built in every single seat. You hear high pitched hyena cackling.
I love hyenas
We've had this debate before.
so many times.
Yeah. Okay. I will instead. Next time it's my turn, I should say. So,
What did
do we
you
have?
roll on your Elder Sign? Was that a nat 1?
Huh?
When you rolled your stat check for your Elder Sign, was that a nat 1?
No. It was a
Okay.
nat 3 plus
All right,
the
thank you.
modifier is a 5.
All right.
Yeah.
Oh, 5. I thought it was a 3. Okay, 5. That's still all right. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, the movie scene in my head keeps getting better as like one guy stands up with like some mysterious symbol and it's like, and then this nurse just looks at him like, "The fuck is wrong with you?" and goes over and starts doing like actual, life saving methodology. I love it. All right, someone else's turn.
Woodrow or Dilber?
Am I still foaming?
Don't be mad. I haven't looked away from the screen yet.
Not even during that plunge, or like when we lost altitude for a minute.
Hey, you have your religious rituals. I have mine.
Is the amount of drool coming out of my character's mouth on your character's like leg just because of the path that it's running? Does that bother you?
I assume it is my own leavings.
Woodrow, as you're caught in the thralls of this terrible grip, as you are like feverishly tearing through the pages of this book in your lap, you're getting this image of like a giant wad of meat with tentacles and teeth and terrible things that's going to tear and rend through everything.
Oh boy.
And you snap back with crystal lucidity, and you're able to pry yourself from the book.
Okay. This I need to find a wad of meat and destroy it before it destroys us, right? Did I understand that correctly? I'm talking to
I
a
think
book right
so.
now because it's the only thing that makes sense to me at the moment. I look over to watch the scene around me.
All right, so you are looking
Um,
around. Anyone else looking around the plane, your economy section?
I actually am going to lean over to my Necronomicon having companion Woodrow, I think, and just like basically say like, "Hey, buddy, I happen to be a bit of a dabbler in the occult. I think that what you've got there is a very genuine and dangerous book, and I think that that fellow who appears to be dead, 2 seats behind us, has a different book called De Mysterious Vermis." And I tell him like bad shit going on, blah blah blah. I just want to catch him up with like an info dump real quick, you know.
The laughter that you're hearing is getting louder and more insistent. People are beginning to cry and wail, and nothing you can do to the onboard console is getting that damn laughter to stop. Like it's just like getting real bad. As you are like giving him an info dump and like just giving him this like mansplaining about the history of like John Dee did this and like it like leading up to like modern like occultism. There is actually, I'm going to make the both of you, since I know that Dilber, you're still watching your holy film.
Mhm.
Dilber and Claude and Woodrow both make me a luck check. Actually, you know, scratch
So,
that. Make me a
question.
sanity check. I'm going to say sanity.
Question: does the Holy Writ of Star Wars actually protect him from the madness? That's a Nat 6.
Well, I mean,
So
when you look
I
for a second down
luckier than
at
lucky.
Dilber, he looks beatific. There's no blood coming out from any orifice. He doesn't look disturbed. He looks peaceful. He
You
is
have to
lovingly
like
stroking his lightsaber, fiberglass hilts.
it is like not only am I like engaged in a thing that makes me happy and is an escape from reality, I'm not hearing any of this. I'm not seeing any of it, which protects like that's what protects your sanity. I'm ignorant of what's happening.
In the Cthulhu verse, that is actually canon.
Yeah,
It
I
is
know.
Legitimate.
You think this is a mistake?
Yeah.
You think it's a funny joke? No, I'm protecting myself.
So, Claude and Woodrow, what did you get for your sanity checks?
Oh,
I
I rolled great. I had a Nat 6 on luck,
Soybeans.
no less.
All right, and for you, Woodrow?
I rolled a 4.
So you got a
Did Beans think
4,
you were
and
yelling
you
at her?
added +2 of your. Wait, do you have +2 or +0
Um
for your sanity right now?
I thought we all agreed it would be more interesting for me to lose my sanity.
I wanted to verify.
We
So,
did.
Yeah.
um,
I mean, I
Woodrow,
would have.
you're looking up at around you, and you're not really noticing what's happening. You're fixating more on like the human misery that's happening around here, and just like how, like people rocking their babies. There are like people freaking out. There's people like texting their loved ones when they should have their phone in airplane mode. Claude, you have this moment of just like this like intense, almost not malign, but just like cold calculating, like you're observing everything, and you notice close to where that sausage locker, that bathroom was,
That's
there's this
exactly what
weird,
I was thinking.
there's a weird
I literally
shimmer
go ahead.
in the air that like no one else seems to notice but you. And that
Okay.
person who's doing chest compressions on that man, you see that shimmer go over to them, and all of a sudden, like blood spurts out the neck of that nurse. Like he is doing chest compressions, and like literally his like flesh unfurls, and you see him. He like screams in agony. Everyone else like looks in horror as like extending from his neck. You see these like growing very faint red tendrils into this giant like red blossoming thing. You see in real time this nurse, like he begins to shrivel and his blood starts to leak out from his neck into these red ropey tentacles to this blasphemous thing that when you look at it, it has too many mouths and they're all laughing, and like this guy is turning to a raisin and the laughter is getting louder from the speakers around you.
I would like to know. So let me see. That's the or stewardess compartment. I'm thinking. So like, is that the opposite direction of the cockpit or the name?
That is in the rear, so that is the 2 rows behind you. It was the nurse who was trying to give chest compressions to that man who was reading out of that book that he probably shouldn't have been. And that nurse, he is turning into a raisin.
Okay. I would like to perform the following actions. I would like to look toward the cockpit of the plane and see if I can spot fuck it. I'll run toward the cockpit. That's what I'll do. So away from the abominable horror toward the cockpit.
So this is the holiday season. So this is one of the larger cargo plane or passenger planes. So it has a layout where all you have your economy coach, which is also just basically economy plus, and in business you have a staircase that leads up to upper business and then the cockpit.
Okay, what I'm looking for is a parachute. So I'm making my way toward the cockpit, hell bent for leather. I only have eyes for a parachute right now.
Cockpit.
Now, they do tell you at
Yeah.
the very beginning when you fly a plane, they let you know about the onboard air masks and then where your inflatables are under your seat. And then by the
Right.
wings, there are the parachutes that you can get.
Okay. Let me see. How
So you
badly
know,
do I
like
want
you
to
just
fuck
have to run a
everyone
very
over?
short bit to get it to where the parachutes are. Now, keep in mind, just like the Titanic,
I
there's not enough parachutes for everyone.
Well, no shit. I mean, I'm only thinking of myself. Like at this point, what I'm trying to calculate is whether I can steal both the Necronomicon and Divermis and get out of the plane with the parachute before this whole thing goes up. Um, but I'm balancing that occult wisdom versus the value of my life. So I'll think about that.
I'm going to let you
for a
think about
second.
that. So, this entire time this has been happening, Dilber, are you breaking from your holy film or are you sticking to the ritual of once you start, you can't stop?
God, you're
Dilber,
muted.
you need to tap into the force so that we can hear you. Project yourself.
I'm a force ghost now.
We can hear force ghosts.
Yeah. So I feel like I probably have a special edit of all the films back to back, like uninterrupted.
Yeah,
Makes
of
sense.
course.
And so, like as soon as, and I do not cut out the credits because I like mouth the creators' name. I'm like, yeah, fuck yeah, Ken Goldman. Yeah, you did the special effects. Best grip, Tony. This wouldn't exist without you. I give thanks to all the creators of Star Wars as I watch. And
So
then as soon as that like MGM or whatever, whoever the fuck's logo scrolls up, the beginning credits of the next movie start.
So you go through the full thing. You have this shaking of your faith. You've been struggling lately, but you are doubling down. You're like, this is the time that I
There's no
attune.
hold, step back. There's no questioning of my faith. There's a questioning of humanity's readiness to accept the force in their heart. Okay?
You take the
That
time.
is the line, the company line. Yeah.
You take the time to individually tune each of your midichlorians to the correct vibrational wavelength.
You know what? Fuck this shit. I am going to make a break for it. I book it for the wing of the plane, grab and apply a parachute. I hit that emergency release lever on the door.
Before you can so when you rush up, so stewards are they are very much occupied with like mollifying guests, and there are people that are getting
Yeah.
up and anxious, and like people are crying and wailing and things like that. But one of them, Hans, locks eyes with you and sees you going for the air chute. When you get like that second arm in and sees you going for that emergency release, he is trying to tackle you. So I am going to need you to make me a difficult dexterity check to see if you can beat
Okay.
Hans to that lever. Because if you depressurize the entire cabin, it's going to get really fucky in here.
It's gonna get real funny real fast.
I rolled a 5. And
Fuck you,
I think
Hans.
Dex is my weakest stat, so that's a 5 total. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
well,
Dex is a 0, so that's a
technically, a
5.
difficult is 6 to 7. You rolled a 5.
Okay.
So Hans tackles you before you can hit
Hooray!
the switch. And you're
Round
in a very
2.
similar a similar
yeah.
entanglement to how you were before. And he goes,
Yeah.
"Why'd you run off on me? I thought we had a thing."
And I'm gonna murmur to him, we do, but if you and I don't get out of this plane, we're going to die. And I just kind of gesture at the tentacled thing that's by now no doubt manifested itself fully.
Absolutely. So as another series of rolls, I'm going to need you, Claude and Woodrow, make me another sanity check, both of you.
Oh, not me.
Ooh,
I'm
this dice
watching
is
my
good.
You
movie.
are still
Tonight.
watching your film. You have
I
not
am.
told me you've turned around to see this entire scene. You are
I
undeterred.
That is another nat 5. Like I am having a
Okay,
great
nat
night
5.
with this
Is that a
D6.
nat 1 for you, Woodrow?
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
So Woodrow, you were reading in the Necronomicon, but you have no idea what this thing is. All you know is it looks very similar to that wad of meat you saw in your head. To you, Claude, you identify that this thing is a star vampire. And
Oh, cool.
it is going to suck the blood of everyone in this ship, everyone in this plane, and then it's going to crash it.
Yep. That's what I figured. Yeah.
The laughter that everyone is hearing is getting laughter. It's almost to the point, Dilburn,
Louder,
like
my friend.
it's almost like interfering with you. Like you keep turning up your earbuds, but it is getting louder and louder and obnoxious. You hear terrible screams of terror as you see a couple, like 3 rows up diagonal on the other side of the ship, like another like just burst of blood and like a swelling mass of tentacles beginning to like blossom out from the side of like a young couple. What are the 3?
So first of all, like this is a trope I love in fiction when like bad shit is happening and someone is just like oblivious to it
Mr. Magooing it.
completely.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah. And or they're like it's like the scene in the movie where like the guy's on the train but he's got the headphones on, he doesn't see all the murder happening behind him or whatever. Like I love that shit because I'm pretty sure that's how I'll die. So
I love the fact that like as a cast, like all of you are willing to play different tropes and things. Like I appreciate you guys.
Issue, buddy.
You know what I appreciate? I appreciate people not being so loud and noisy when I'm trying to watch episode 5. I appreciate.
Am I to
I do want to say that I do make rhythmic, like in Judaism we call them niguns. They're wordless songs. Example, ya la 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 la. However, I'm making like Star Wars noise, lightsaber noise, niguns, during every fight.
the world is going to be a better place once me and my beloved make a leap for it out of this plane and let these jabronis go down in flames.
I need to assess some things to my character real quick though.
All right, what's
I
that?
rolled a 1, which means I'm probably got a little bit mad again, right?
So
That's what
if you were using an item, so if you were specifically using an item, your item would be completely depleted or gone.
Can you deplete the Necronomicon?
never. No.
So the fact that you were like rolling a 0, it's not going to penalize you per se. It's just going to give you the bad outcome. But bad rolls otherwise, like if you're trying to avoid damage or other things, so let's say one of those tentacle things are actually going to come your way, that's when you're going to start taking stat damage. Now, all of you, as kind of a reminder, when you start doing like really heroic or really amazing things, you're going to start getting talents, which unlock different abilities that are going to happen in this game.
I don't see a lot of heroic behavior going on tonight, bud.
It depends on how you define it.
My point is,
I've gotten laid and I'm about to crash a plane. I mean, I think I'm having a pretty good night.
I feel like as a person that's got the most actions, I probably should have given you a talent to recognize that, Charles, aka Claude. Since we are getting like closer into
Claude's
time
having
for
a
the
good
evening,
night.
I'm going to go ahead and give you the dexterity-based talent, which is Dancer, because
I don't know with how Hans seemed to say. I don't think he has much dexterity. Hey-o.
so the value on your die when you dodge is going to increase by 2 times. So that's going to be more useful in combat or evasive things. But as you were being pinned by Hans on the floor.
How about I evasively slip Hans into one of these parachutes and the both of us get the fuck out of here?
Okay, all right. So I guess I just gave you that fuel. So
You sure did.
I will allow that. So
May I
let's see what
request
the
that you
dice
force
say.
them both to roll luck to see if the chute's open?
I will also allow that. So go ahead and make me a dexterity check, and we'll treat it with the Dancer.
Okay.
Thing. So that's going to be
Yeah.
D6.
So that's a nat 3 times 2 is a 6 plus my dex modifier is like 0, I think.
All
so
right.
nat 6, or I'm sorry, with modifier it's a 6.
Having been a little bit slippery from previous activities and the sweat from running around, you were able to wrestle yourself out of in this embrace and lovingly put a parachute around Hans and get it like there's that like click of the belt and like both of you stop and you like lock eyes and you hear that click and you're like he realizes like you're serious. And also there are now 2 of these like giant tentacled mouth things like eating passengers. It's like eating the row that they're on, eating the next row. And so like immediately behind you, Woodrow and Dilber, like there are like fleshy tentacles beginning to quest their way to you with like biting mandibles on the end. So go ahead and make me. I'm just gonna like see how this plays out. So there's gonna be a couple of rolls because what are you doing?
Okay. I'm holding this roll, and you'll see why in a second. It'll be beautiful, I promise.
So you're holding
I finally notice what's happening.
All right. All right. Real quick, because you've been kind of inactive for a while, interpret what's been happening in your perspective.
So, what happens, or I guess, allow me to paint the word picture that is William Dilbor's perspective. Dilbor has felt a disturbance in the force, namely something hitting the back of his chair over and over again, and has pulled his earbuds out and realized, like, no, it's not some interference on his own. There's actually screaming and laughing going on. Dilbor turns his head and sees this alien menace, this red lightning looking tenderly thing. And there's only one thing that can cause red living lightning. That's the Sith.
The Emperor.
Now, Ian, I know what you're going to say. You're going to tell me I need to roll sanity, which I was holding as I rolled an 8. I rolled a 6, but plus 2, 8. So my response to this is to whisper, "It's finally my time to be a Skywalker," and draw my fake ass lightsaber and charge into battle.
Is this literally the moment we talked about on another show like a couple of weeks ago of like talking about brain dead / dead alive, where I kick ass for the Lord? You just did like I kick ass for the Force. You pull out your piece of fiberglass with your light red kyber crystal. You thumb like your AAA battery, or AA battery.
They're double Ds.
Double
no,
Ds.
They're D? I just say a single D. I have double Ds on the mind,
so
I guess.
You look badass. And
All
as
right,
he goes,
yeah. There's this like moment of calm where you hear this like the thrum and like crackle sound when you first activate and you like thrum the activation rune. And like for 1 second, you think that like all the overhead speakers stop that gibbering laughter, and you face down this thing. It is a ball of mouths. It is floating and it is laughing from every single tendril that are now going towards you.
I welcome it as I charge into battle.
All right. So roll me a dexterity to hit this thing with your trusty lightsaber.
That is another 6. I don't have any points of dexterity, so it's just a straight 6.
All right. Well, fantastic. So you swing your weapon at it, and
I'm sorry, Ian. Would you please describe this from Charles's perspective? As he looks over and sees
as you
this.
are wrestling Hans on the floor, and both of you are sweating and out of breath, panting, just a couple of inches from kissing each other again, passionately. You hear this like, you see like this like over like as you're on like the floor, like trying to like lock this belt into place so your friend doesn't fall to his death. Like you see like the very tip of this like light red lightsaber.
Would you make that war cry for me again?
Which one? The Wario?
The war
and
cry.
Like,
I'm also Wario.
You could tell this is a fresh pair of double Ds that are like clicking in. And you see your compatriot in waiting, Dilbert, throw himself at a star vampire. A thing from beyond the stars. The thing that was carried by this comet that has come here to destroy all of life was a piece of fiberglass.
I mean, there's always one human who takes a swing at a space marine in full like armor with like a crowbar, you know.
That is exactly
Bless their
what is
hearts.
happening here. But he knows no fear. All that is known here is bravery, and it is glorious.
For my ladies!
If anyone survives on this plane, they will report to his temple, his chapter rather, how brave he was as he flunks this horror from beyond the stars with a piece of fiberglass reinforced with 2 double Ds. You inflict 1 point of damage upon this thing. The laughter just gets more cackling. And
I'm joining
one of those mouths wraps around your shafts and snaps it.
Oh no!
That
My shaft!
one sound smells like a friend. So Woodrow.
Okay. I just want to point out he snapped my fiberglass shaft.
It's actually probably more deadly now.
Yeah, I was gonna say no. What he did is gave me a fiberglass lightsaber shiv.
That is true.
That's true. That's true. That stuff is sharp as shit. Yeah.
I'm gonna handle this round robin as far as like order of actions that's happened. So that's gonna be you next, Woodrow, followed by again Claude and Dilber. So you have 2 of these horrible blasphemous things that are eating their ways through these rows, and they're probably inevitably heading towards the cockpit to take down this plane. So tell me, Woodrow, what are you doing?
Okay. I have no weapons. I have a book that has driven me mad. Fuck. I'm afraid I'm gonna die. Uh,
It's a head
What-
book you could throw.
it is. I have two options: consult the book again, double down, or would I know that there are parachutes in the back of the plane as well? I
Well,
don't think I would. I don't
no,
think I
you would
would.
know this because every time you take a flight, they tell you where all the emergency exits are and how to use all those things. It's in the brochure right next to the barf bag. So it's not like I'm withholding information. You would know where these things are.
Yeah. Okay. So I know.
I'm doing
Um,
I'm doing the directions now.
Yeah, I've seen the demise of this plane and everyone on it. I'm out.
Yeah, my man. Joining team. All right.
I grabbed it. Did you grab the other book or
To
Does-
get
No,
that,
I'm just
you're going to have
bailing.
to get past that thing.
Yeah.
Are you
And
wanting
me
to push,
flailing around too now.
Are you wanting to push back that thing to get this other ancient tome? That's not a leading question. I need to know. Are you willing to risk a life and limb to get that other book?
Ian, point
Yes.
of order. Would a mind that had begun being corrupted by the Necronomicon allow him to leave that book behind? I believe that should be a roll, sir.
That's
Ooh,
a
I
legit
like
question.
that. I'm going to use that. So, Woodrow, would you make me a sanity check to resist the lure of ancient heretical lore? Yeah, you want that book. You were going to try to bull rush past this giant pulsating orb that is like just eating like another passenger next to you across the aisle. This is beginning to be like Critters 2, but with like tentacles. So I guess this would be like Critters 4. Um, no one
Uh,
gets those references, and that's
I-
great. But anywho,
I only made it through. Oh wait, was Critters 2 the one that took place on the movie set, like in the movie?
so
I'm trying to remember.
Critters 2 is the one with the giant ball, like the gibbering mouther ball that was like mowing over everything. Critters 3 was basically like Predator 2, where you went to the big city. And then Critters 4 was the one where you were in space.
Okay, so I'm thinking of the original Critters. I think,
They're all
where
kind of
like they
goofy.
were
There's a
on.
lot of meta horror
yeah,
with them. Anyways,
yeah.
all right. So as a quick aside, I'm going to play this out, and then we're going to snap back to the order of initiative. So Woodrow, you have this burning desire for self-preservation, but also to preserve that book. If you want to go claim that book, which it seems like you do, you're going to make me a difficult dexterity roll to try to move past these snaking tendrils that are just like knifing people in the neck and draining them dry.
Can I have advantage on
I couldn't quite catch that. State again.
that? Could I get advantage on that roll?
No, you were enthralled in madness. What did you roll?
I got a 1.
Great. So the gibbering, mouthy star vampire, you feel all of these mouths smile at you with like canine, vicious smiles. That laughter both somehow raises 2 pitches higher and 2 pitches lower at the same time, like making like this perfect brown sound. You feel your bowels loosen as like one of these mouthy things shanks into your shoulder and begins to pump and suck your muscles dry. So you take
Haha, Pashke shit himself.
you take 3
Shut
points
up!
you take 3 points of damage initially. So that means that you need to deduct that little slider and push it over
3
at
points
least-
of damage with the side of number 2.
All right. So,
nice one.
so
Hans also laughs.
everything goes
So
down by
you
1.
can take that from any stats that you want.
Soulmate.
Everything went down by 1. I think I might like I have a 0 in luck, but my dex and my sanity are both
9 and 1,
gone.
negative 1.
Yeah.
So that means
is this
that
what
since your sanity is -1, that means that your view in the world has been shattered and you are withdrawing within yourself. So now, for the rest of the game, you can no longer speak in full sentences. You can only speak in like monosyllabic one-word utterances to reflect your unstable mind. top of the initiative here. We're going to move back to Claude. You are like 2 inches away from Hans's perfect mouth, which is just real weird. They keep saying Hans because it's a German name. It's also the name of my in-life brother. So it's like weird that I'm saying all this, but that's fantastic. So you have Hans
if your
strapped in.
brother's single, I'm gonna give him a little, and then I'm going to yank on that door release handle. So let's see.
You're gonna make me a easy dexterity check to see if you can like fight him because like he's getting it.
That's 4.
You've got it.
And yeah.
All right.
4 plus the modifier.
So you rip open the emergency door in an airplane that is high above altitude. Everyone's eardrums like pop and burst with like a sudden like rapid depressurization. All of those emergency air max like fall from the ceiling. The plane drops about 15 feet in like a sudden like lurch, and everyone's stomach goes in their throats. And it is cold. Like things are getting sucked out the window. That like completely dehydrated baby, a lot of barf bags, like some of those like Vera Bradley purses. They're all just like shump.
That was a very specific purse reference, and I loved it.
There's Vera Bradley like purse factories here in Indiana. So like, I think about like, so you always see them on planes.
You do, yeah.
All right, so
marvelous.
You and Hans like embrace each other and just like out the window. The plane is being like tilt that direction as like another steward is like trying to brace themselves, pulling on like the side of the plane, like the handles to like close the door, and it is a monumental force. Once you throw in those doors open, like everything is kind of fucked at that point.
Yep.
The screaming is getting louder, so there's like cosmic cackling is getting that much louder. Now, to Dilber's point, both of you are out, so both of you need to make me a luck check to make sure your parachutes. Shump, shump. So I'm going to have you roll for you, and then you're going to roll for Hans to see if both of you make it.
For me, that is, I'm doubling it still, right?
That's going to be for one roll. So I'm going to set the difficulty on 4 for both of you.
Okay, so I passed the first one.
All right, so your main parachute deploys. Let's see if you're lovers.
And he passes it even better than I did. So here's what I like to think is like 25 years down the line, like we've retired to like, I don't know, Ontario, and like people come over for coffee or whatever, and they're like, so how did you two meet? Well, it's a hell of a story. Let me tell
Tinder.
you. Tinder. Tinder, Grinder, cosmic horror in an airplane, you know, one or the other.
The plane is beginning at this point to stress. More of those star vampires, because they are, as you would know, invisible at the beginning, but once they drink the blood of anything, they begin to flesh themselves out. So there wasn't just 1 or 2, but there are at least 7 now that the other 2 of you see are sprouting around this plane, and they're just working their way up the row. You're already hearing screaming coming from first class as like several Karens are just being tapped dry. You, Woodrow, are feeling yourself being blood dry. Next initiative is you, Dilber. So you have stabbed this thing, or thwonked
I haven't stabbed it yet. I'm about to.
You thwonked it with your fiberglass rod, and now you've got a fiberglass shank. You're staring this thing down in its many eyes and mouths. Do you stand your ground and
may the force be with you? Right into the big eye.
Ooh, I love the drama. Go ahead and make me that dex. All right. So you shank it. So now that thing is worth 2 points of damage as you like begin to core it out like a pineapple. This thing, one of its mouths like whines like it's in pain, while all the other 17 mouths just laugh at you, and it begins to pull in your lightsaber and crunch it up. But like you notice by the time it's done eating your lightsaber, now 3 of the mouths are crying and are limp. That is just enough damage for you, Woodrow, to make me a dex check to break and pull this thing out of your shoulder.
2.
Total?
Oh, wait, no. 1. Because I have a negative.
You got a minus. Yeah.
All right, so you're not able to pull it from your chest, but because of the damage that Dilber did, it's no longer sucking your blood, and you feel like you can catch your breath, but it still has its teeth like wrapped around your clavicle, and as you're trying to pull out, you feel its teeth rasp across your bone.
That's painful.
Yeah.
All right,
Does that
since
do
we're
more
gonna-
damage?
No, it's still going to take no damage. We're going to do like a final round or two since I know that we're here close to time. Dilber, your lightsaber is gone, but your faith is rock hard. What do you do?
Um,
Plane is
All
beginning
right.
to go down at this point.
I look up. Obi-Wan, forgive me, and I cast Force Lightning.
Now,
Yes.
Did you say how?
no, I'm curious, like, if you literally believe this happens or if this should happen. That is what
So here's the thing. I believe in the Force, but like Force powers has always been kind of this like thing that's like, man, it'd be so cool if it existed. But now I see living monsters made of red lightning and blood attacking. Obviously, magic and the Force is real. I'm a Jedi. I tap into the dark side of the Force and cast Force Lightning. Now, what happened? Now, look, I'm gonna roll. Here, Ian, I'm gonna roll a die. What happens after I roll that die is up to you.
I have an idea here, so I'm curious to see this play out.
Should I add any? Should I add sanity or luck or dexterity to that?
I mean, luck is supposed to be good things happening to you.
Okay. So that is a 6.
All right, so there is a dead and very desiccated TSA flight agent who is on his plane, and you see his taser is sticking out of his like holster, just within hand's reach.
Nice.
I'll do.
They're Force Light.
I grab it and I do the hand
Power.
gesture.
All right,
Yeah.
so you
Unlimited power.
you successfully cast Force Lightning and you tarnish yourself to a gray Jedi, and you are able to free Woodrow from the grip of the Star Vampire. Woodrow, you are feeling the plane begin to tilt. You hear screaming now coming from overhead the comm as the pilot is like gurgling with blood. Do you run to the side and try to get one of those parachutes? You see people are trying to climb themselves towards them, or do you go for that copy of the De Vermis Mysterious? Just one more row ahead of you.
Yeah.
Yes.
I agree. Very good. Carry on.
Well put.
All right.
Succinct,
So you
eloquent,
go grab the book.
How was the hug, John? I did my task.
All right. So you hug Dilber rather than going for the book.
Yeah, I hugged Dilber.
All right.
You just
So,
saved me. How can I make it any more clear other than
That's fair.
I thought you were trying to get more TP for your bunghole. Is what I thought you were doing.
No, that's more about
Gross, Ian.
No, I thought that was a Beavis and
Gross.
Butthead reference.
You should be ashamed of yourself.
I mean, a little bit, but I thought that's exactly what was happening. I even watched that show. My parents wouldn't let me as a kid.
You said I couldn't speak.
What?
You said I couldn't speak because I've
I
gone
told you
mad.
to speak in
brilliant.
one-word
Yeah.
utterances.
I thought
All
that
right,
was
It was a
brilliant. I
beautiful
thought-
thing. Changed nothing.
All right, so
Yeah.
the plane is beginning to go down. Instead of saving your safety or going for the book, you cling to your savior, who just heroically defied his orders, wishes, and channeled his inner passion to save you. And so
True.
as the
I would
plane
like.
goes down, you are arm in arm as the just nose dives into like some type of cornfield in Kansas. While
Seconds before
meanwhile,
we crash,
yes,
I
Good job.
say, I'm totally not a virgin, by the way.
So now I would like to unmask a wee bit and say I won tonight because my task for the evening was let me see if I get this correctly, break the mission of the team. And I think that
Um,
crashing the plane and murdering everybody in it except for my lover qualifies as breaking the
and
mission.
I was
Charles,
going
I
to
hate
set
to
the
tell you
scene.
this.
What?
I won because my secret mission was make a friend.
Nice.
What about you, Paxi?
I mean, my secret task that I achieved by
Yeah.
hugging John was
I'm just wondering if you got any of them done.
try to
I was
be
going to.
calm as possible. Nope. Try to get a special character to hug you.
I was gonna set the scene too
No.
as like we are closing this as like Claude is holding hands with Hans and they're watching the plane go down like in
Yep,
flames,
yep.
like it's just like
Romantic. Yeah.
so one of the things that is fun about this system, but is kind of almost like an interesting mixed bag depending on how you weave your narratives, are that there are tasks that each character has. They're assigned 2 tasks, and they may choose one or both to accomplish by the end of the narrative. Some are. It's very interesting because some are character driven, where you interact with other characters to fulfill certain goals. There are story ones, and then there are even meta ones, including, like for Pashki, paints your character in real life. And Pashki makes these fantastic drawings of activities and things. So I left out the meta ones, but I used the other ones. So it's interesting that all of you have accomplished at least one of your secret goals of some kind. So
That's because
we
we
can
kick ass.
exactly. So we
Yeah.
can
Hell
actually
yeah.
objectively walk away from this saying that all of you are winners instead of just saying we told a story, you are all winners. I fully thought that the story would go with like Train to Busan, with you like using carts to like block off the monsters and like trying to fall back to save the
Barricade.
cabin. But
Yeah.
I like the fact that you, Claude, were like, no, I'm fucking out here with with Hans, and we're
You
gonna go
know,
get some
in
currywurst
reality, like
when we land.
I forget which stupid movie it is that's like zombies on a plane, but that's kind of where the gem of this idea came from. Is like the second that shit started going wrong in that movie, I was like, I don't care about my fellow humans that much. That was the day I discovered that like if everybody on a plane is going all like feral, I am grabbing a parachute and getting the fuck out of Dodge. And like if that means it crashes, I'm sorry.
So, interesting side note. My biggest frustration with the Grudge movies, Ju-on, is that like when I can't remember, Sadako uh starts climbing out
They
of
made a
shit,
new one that's
people's
yeah.
responses is always, and then they sit there like this for 5 minutes while it slowly
Yeah,
and it's like,
yeah.
look, I know you're not going to beat her, but why would you not at least try to stomp her teeth in? At least try.
Right?
At least make the effort. And so I feel like I would have like, yeah, okay, I'm gonna die, not without stabbing something in the fucking eye first.
I appreciate that you were the guardsman that tried to hack at an Astarte. I mean, that's fantastic because
Yeah, that was
it
dope as
can
hell,
work.
man. Like
You go for the joints, you get
that's
enough of you. Let's
and
not
by the
talk
way,
about Dorn.
in the case of the Night Lords, they grant those humans a quick death. They don't like throw them in the skinning pit. So
If you're young enough and
yeah.
you do that for a Space Marine, you get into the Space Marine chapter. Well, you just try to stab a
Yeah.
Space Marine. You probably have what it takes
That's
to be a
how.
Space Marine.
Oh man, there was one. It's like one of Malakirst's proteges who like he's Malakirst's favorite because when Mal came to claim him from the tunnels on Cathonia,
Oh
the
yeah,
kid
the
like
Equerry.
he damn near took out one of his eyes with a knife. And like Malakirst still has like the scar from it and respects the hell out of the kid for he was a fucking space marine, and some little sprat in a tunnel almost took one of his eyes.
That's how we got Cor Farron.
Yep. Who's what do they call him? A false Astartes, because
Yeah.
he's old and he's just too fucking mean and old to really die until a certain point.
So that is mission failed successfully. I guess successful for you, Claude. But yeah, that good going, everyone.
Cool.
It wasn't a total success for me. I did lose my luggage. Like, I don't think they usually recover your luggage from a crash if you
I'm
survive.
pretty sure that you can borrow Hans's underwear.
I don't plan on either of us wearing underwear for a minute, so it's all good. This is gonna be like one of those James Bond movies where at the end we, touch down on like a desert island or something.
Right. So, we one thing we want to say is that this creator is new to the scene of game creation. And that's one really amazing thing that things like Itch and Morkborg and Cyborg have allowed, is for new people to come forward and stretch their legs and get involved in this space. So if you go and you check this out, don't be too discouraged if it seems like, oh, this is much more plain than like the $50,000 Kickstarter book I just saw.
That's cool. It's Morky Beans 1-1, you mean?
Fucking shit. If you won't know if it's as cool as that, because I ain't got they outdone yet, bro. But I just mean there's a lot of work that goes into these things, and one of the biggest stepping stones is thinking that you have to put out a D&D 5.0 core book. You get that idea in your head, like, if I want to be a game creator, I have to make it like this. And the best way to get started is to do like 3-page adventures and 3-page micro games. I was talking to Pele from Morkborg, and originally Morkborg was a 2-page thing he had done for a game jam.
Oh, wow.
So anyway, you can check it out on Itch and kind of see where it's at. And by supporting new creators in this space, you're helping them grow, helping them stay with it, which is always a kind of net positive in my mind. Shall I go into announcements, or?
Yeah, let's do some announcements.
Yeah.
So, hey everyone, you know us. We're your friendly, rapscallions. In that we rap about onions, which is why I assume rapscallion is.
Yeah, our latest album just leaked.
That's a very good pun, Ian. That's very good.
It has layers.
Nicely played. Nicely.
Hey, Ian, real talk. The three of us were talking about kicking you off the podcast, but I am doing that immediately.
Am I back on?
You're back on, bro.
Yeah.
That was so good. As you know, we are all of us constantly working on stuff, trying to get new games out there. Ian basically goes to work, edits, then comes home and edits, and then cries, and we ignore him because we're bastards. Charles is working on writing stuff. He has 3 novels out at the moment that I know of. I think now I think the one you should immediately buy is A Baptism for the Dead. No bias there, but you can also pick up Arcanum's Volume 1 and 2, which are also illustrated, so that's pretty baller. And obviously I have all my books and projects. Also, I want to encourage you to, if you are ever in, is it Ohio, Mr. Patchkey?
Yeah, I'm in Ohio.
Yeah, if you're ever in Ohio, wouldn't it be cool to form some kind of fan club cult that follows Mr. Paschke around to all of his sword play tournaments, just like chant his name and like intimidate his opponents.
Pretty cool.
No. No
I'm not gonna
chance
tell you
of no
no.
intimidation. What he needs is a herald, Paschke. You need
Oh,
someone who comes
and
out
the
and is like,
squire,
Yeah.
and a
Yeah,
squire
and, like-
that has all his swords in like a golf bag. Plus,
yeah, with all your swords in it.
No joke. The golf bags are actually really useful when transporting swords.
that
on a
makes
plane.
sense. It's perfect.
That's your apocalypse tip for the night.
Yeah.
So I'll tell you, I have a new book that just got back from the editor this evening. She says it's good, even if my punctuation sucks. It is going to come out on my birthday, January 14th. It is called,
Happy birthday.
well, it's a while, about a month and a half away now, but it will be called Ibi Ranu the Flesh Crafter, Children of the Gods. And it's going to be
60
brutal.
minutes or less.
So, yeah, it's going to be cool. We have lots of other stuff going on. We are still working on all of our various projects. If you want to find out more about our projects or the schedule or read reviews or do any of that cool shit, you can find us at WanMonCast.com, where you can find all of our socials and all of that shit. If you don't want to go there, then like just follow us on Twitter at WanMonCast. Charles updates that constantly. He's constantly posting cool gaming stuff on there. So like not only do you get our news, but you also get like other cool articles and shit. Really valuable to follow. It's one that like it's essentially like my social as well, but I follow it because it's like he's always posting the coolest shit. Other than that, you know what's super helpful? If you're watching this right now on Twitch, like follow us. Click the little heart. It's free. It helps the algorithm. If you want to subscribe, great. If you don't, I totally understand. We provide this happily for free, but we don't advertise. Word of mouth is the only way it gets out there, and we could really use your help. If you're watching this on YouTube, like this video, because again the algorithm, and subscribe, and then you won't miss any of the videos. Like I think there's a bell icon you can click and it'll like actually send you a, I don't think it sends you an email. I think it just has like a pop-up like,
Yeah.
Wandering Monster has gone live. So
now or in the future, even if you're watching this far in the future, if you'd like us to run the game that you are developing or have currently in your library that needs a little extra love, drop us a line. You can drop us at wanmonops@gmail.com or find our contact at wanmon.com or via our many platforms. Who knows if Twitter will still be alive by the time you're watching this years in the future, but basically anything at WanMonCast, will find us.
And like, even if you didn't develop the game, if you have some like cool obscure game with like wacky mechanics that like you wish more people knew about,
we run fan requests.
Like tell us what's up. As always, we have had a blast. Primarily because Ian puts up with antics that no sane GM would. Thank you so much for joining us on this consensual journey that we call Wandering Monster. My name is John Baltusberger.
I am Charles R. Bernard.
Ian Servas.
Mr. Paschke, and if you're watching this in the past, warn us.